Heels off, game on, heels off, game on, heels off, game on, heels off, game on. It's the game day diva theme song. Heels off, game on. It's the game day diva theme song. Make some noise if you're ready for the scat. Make some noise if you're ready for the chat. It's your game day diva.
What's up? That song always makes me want to get up and dance. So, it's Friday, and we had a game last night. So I'm going to say welcome to Heels Off, Game On. This is a Sports Talk Diva. So, let's just get right into it. There was so much happening last night in the Philadelphia Eagles Dallas Cowboys game. I mean, we've been waiting so long for the season to start. All the hoopla around it, the former Super Bowl champs, and we all know what happened with the Cowboys and Micah getting signed by the Packers, and what was the defense going to look like. Well, there is a show that's been on for quite some time, and it's called First Take, and we'll get into, we all know who that is and what the show is, but I'm going to say this is going to be the second take, okay? Because on that show, there was somebody who was just screaming yesterday about, and we know who screams, okay? But they were just screaming about, oh, the Cowboys going to get blown out. Cowboys going to get blown out. Dak's going to throw two interceptions. I mean, it's just going to be a blowout. Well, on second take, and that did not happen. Okay, it was a much closer game than we all anticipated. Now, let's look at some of the highlights of that game. Okay, we all know, and it's been talked about, and it's being talked about all day with what happened with Jalen Carter and Dak Prescott. The story is Dak has said that he was trying to do a spit, wasn't directly spitting on anyone, and I really don't feel like that's Dak's character to even do such a thing. But Jalen, I think maybe, I don't know if Dak baited him or what he was trying to do to maybe get that extra 15 yards and get them jump started, on their way to their touchdown, which they did. They came out the gate scoring. But back to that play, so Jalen decided, you want to spit right back at you. So, just not very cool at all. I mean, it's disgusting and deplorable and a whole bunch of adjectives to describe such a thing. So we all know what happened there. That was a big loss because we know how important Jalen Carter is to that defense, who, by the way, lost some key players. And I think it kind of showed last night because Dallas was able to score. Some of their key losses were Josh Sweat, Darius Slay, and Brandon Gray. Okay, those were some of their key losses on defense. With Jalen Carter had made a difference in terms of, getting to Dak and putting more pressure on him back there. Absolutely. But he wasn't there. Some of the other guys stepped up, and the bottom line is they walked away with the dub. Okay, but, the Cowboys did not look bad at all. And actually, let me go into some stats as to what Jalen did. Jalen he threw for 152 yards. And actually, he had 2 scores on the ground. So it wasn't anything spectacular in the air, but Jalen does what Jalen does, and he can hurt you. And he did. On the ground, he ran. If he couldn't find anyone, he ran. And then you had Dak, who he went for 21 of 34 for 188 yards. So Dak had a pretty solid game. And if not for 3 drops, not 1, not 2, but 3 whole drops, CeeDee Lamb dropped some crucial passes. He did. Dak did his job, did what he needed to do. CD, and he owned it. I mean, I seen interviews with him this morning talking about how he prayed for those moments where he would get the ball, and certainly, it could be a game-winning touchdown, whatever the case may be. He said he had prayed for those moments, and of course, he felt like he let his team down, and rightfully so. He did, but it's one game, and CD by far is one of the best receivers in the league, so I know that he'll bounce back from it. So I don't know if it was something just mental. I don't think the moment was too big, even though they had to know that all eyes were on them last night. I mean, there were so many people anticipating this game, anticipating, the NFL opening, and then this big matchup, between 2 division rivals. Obviously, those guys don't like each other. There were lots of fighting, and there probably were more things going on underneath that pile than we seen. It happens. But those 2 definitely don't like each other. They'll meet again because they're in the same division. So we'll see what that outcome is when they go to Dallas. But getting back to Dallas looked pretty solid. I will say this in my observation. I know there was a 1-hour weather delay. And during that hour, I was sleepy. Fell asleep. I had to catch the highlights when I got up. And when I got up, I saw that the Eagles won. So I did see the highlights. And from what I saw before I got sleepy and the highlights that I did see, Dallas looked pretty solid. Now, Jerry said he had to let Micah go because, hey, they needed to build. They needed some other players. One person is not going. One person's not going to win a game. Not going to win a championship. That's all. That's all fine and well. But Micah is that one person who is a one-man wrecking crew. Okay, and I would venture to say if Micah was there, it would have looked a little different on defense for sure. The Cowboys did not stop the run. So Jerry's theory of, we got to stop the run. And I guess he was basically saying even with Micah last year, they still weren't stopping the run. I think it would have been a little different outcome if Micah was there. I know he would have been fired up, charged up. He's from PA. I'm sure there were relatives, going to the game that would have been checking him out, so on and so forth. And I know he would have showed up and showed out. I look for him to do that with Green Bay this weekend. But be that as it may, long story short, hey, Eagles won. They got the dub. That's all that matters. We're in for a long season, so we'll see what happens, week 15, week 16, whatever the case may be. Okay, now, we all know, and I mentioned this yesterday, actually, I mentioned it the day before when I did, when I did my last episode. We've got Kansas City and the Chargers tonight. It's on YouTube, okay? Kansas City and the Chargers are playing in Brazil. It's at 8 o'clock tonight, our time, and it's on YouTube. I have one last takeaway before I go, and that is the WNBA. I've got an update. It's been all over the place. Right now, as it is, Caitlin Clark is done with the Indiana Fever for the season. Okay, she is done for the rest of the season. There's still some games to be played, guys, and if the season were to end today, Indiana would take that 8 spot and they would make the playoffs, but they would have to play Minnesota in a 3-game series. I don't know how well that bodes for them against Minnesota. the best team in the WNBA right now. So Caitlin, once again, she's out for the Indiana Fever. Let's stay tuned to see if they make that playoff run. I really feel like had she been healthy this year, they would have gone much further. But it remains to be seen as to what they'll do without her going forward. Well, anyway, that is a wrap for now. I will definitely be back with some updates on what happens this weekend with the whole slate of games that we have in the NFL. And of course, we got some college football tomorrow. So I'll be back with my wrap up and my recaps of all the exciting games this weekend. Until then, be blessed. Have a wonderful and blessed weekend.